So the reason why I think my sort of music journalism career never got to the heights that I thought it would is because I was hiding behind the logo. I was hiding behind the logo and I was too scared and I didn't want to put my face out there. I don't know why at the time. It could have been all sorts of various reasons. As I tell you this story, I'm going to try and dig deep within myself to figure out why. If I get to the point where I find out in this video, you will know about it if you stick around long enough, right? But before I even get into that, right, if you are interested in learning about what I am doing in order to upload daily videos for the next 1,000 days, right? If you're new here, I'm dropping videos every single day until the 1,000 days, right? I'm locked in for 1,000 days and I want you guys to join and I want you to like, comment and subscribe. Subscribe if you're locked in and you're looking to see the journey and see what I have to talk about within the areas of personal branding, PR, marketing, AI, and personal growth and development, right? Click in the description box below if you would like a guide that will provide you the insights of my system of how I'm able to do these videos without the burnout, without having to sit down and develop a script and read the script, and without the elements of just feeling, nervous and shy and all that sort of stuff. Because I used to be that person. And it took a lot of unlearning, like I say previously in my videos, in order to drop content like this and to provide all this expertise and these insights and this know-how, right? There's too many of us that are so skilled and incredible in terms of what we know, but in terms of how we're able to communicate it and how we're able to show up when it matters, that's when it usually just kind of falls off in that side of things, right? So click the description box below, make sure that you add to the waiting list, yeah, and you'll get early access to that guide as soon as it's available. You'll get that in your email, right? So as you may or may not know, I used to write a music blog. I love UK music. I used to write about all the good things about UK music, whether rap music, grime music, all that sort of stuff, R&B, any music that was UK based and was good music, I was writing about it, right? So as I developed the platform with the business in mind, the business name in mind. So I developed the platform and I would just write content. I would write content, share content, converse with artists, converse with different people. And I built it to the point where I was getting invited to do all sorts of different stuff. I was doing interviews with artists. I was going to press events and covering those particular shows. I was covering like concerts. I was covering festivals as well. Like it felt like I was living the dream in that regard. And it was amazing that when I talk about the importance of understanding that you came up with the idea in your head and it actually became something tangible, that was like the first instance of that being a thing. But then as sort of the industry was evolving and it was changing, a lot of I suppose a lot of the superstars, whether it's the presenters or the bloggers and all that sort of stuff now, they were very forthcoming with putting a sort of face to the name, if you call it that. And at the time, I just didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't know it was a case of me being scared or not having that confidence to really put myself forward to let people understand who I was. I used to live on the idea that, I want my work to do the talking for me. I don't need to show my face and do all these other additional bits. The work will talk. And the work didn't talk. The work didn't talk. It didn't even speak. It didn't even say a word. It didn't utter anything. It didn't say nothing. So I say all this to say that throughout that process and what I learned in terms of personal branding, you have to evolve or you're going to become extinct, right? And I realized that through the process of not evolving with the times, when everyone started doing video reviews of music or they started doing reactions of music videos and just reactions of being in the actual room with artists doing interviews, I was not doing it. I was stuck behind the logo. I was hiding behind the logo and I was writing amazing written content. But you have to even think about it now. From when I launched the blog, it must have been maybe a decade ago, potentially. I'll need to look at the bits and bobs to confirm. But I say give or take a decade ago. But a lot has changed where there will be people that will actually sit down and read content nowadays. Not many people do that as often anymore, right? And as that time was getting a lot more closer where people preferred more video content, they prefer to actually understand the personality behind the brand, the personality behind that. I just wasn't doing it. And it's interesting because as much as I'm so passionate about telling people they need to build their personal brand, they need to be visible, they need to showcase this, they need to showcase that. I'm so passionate because I understand that I was that person before, and it's not cool because it's something in your body that's telling you that is a danger, that it's a fear. Remember, in one of my videos, I was saying that the brain can't tell the difference between an actual real thing that is of danger to you compared to something that's in the mind, right? So with that, there's always something that's going to be a blocker in terms of how you're able to move and navigate when it comes down to doing the things that scare you. And from when I jumped out of the plane, when I done the skydiving, that's what really helped a lot with me facing the fears head on. And although when I get scared, like, when you have that feeling, and they say you have that feeling in your gut when it comes down to you feeling nervous or scared. I feel mine like in the middle here, like literally in between like my chest. I feel it. Like that's where I feel that level of fear when it comes down to those sort of things as well. Like it will never go away. It will never go away, and it's something that I have to realize and have to adapt in order to do that. But it's all me saying that in hindsight, because ultimately, when I should have been really pushing forward with my personal brand, I was hiding behind the logo and thinking that I can do everything for my business brand. And at the time, it did work. But it got to the point where when I actually went to these particular press events or going to these shows, people didn't know who I was. I felt like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop the meme. I'm going to drop the meme right there. Bow. Yeah. That is how I felt when I was at these events or when I was doing these things, and I was thinking, no one knows who's running the blog. Like no one knows who it's me. I was like mystique about it, and I don't know why. And I suppose in the early initial stages, it did what it had to do because it was very much a new thing. Not many people were actually kind of building their own sort of platforms off the back of doing this sort of content. You had your bigger platforms like your GRM Daily, your Mixtape Madness, your SBTVs at the time, your Link Up TV as well. But no one really had the sort of other sort of side sort of blogs at the time. There was 9 Bills at the time. Shout out 9 Bills because I see they're doing big work as well. And I was around the same time as them, and then it just came down to they were able to showcase their personal brands in a way that made the most sense. And now when we look now today, we can see how a lot of these platforms have been able to build their personal brand on this side and their business brand. And I always say now that that's the best way to go about things if you're looking to develop and refine your business and your profile throughout for years to come. You need to be able to establish both of them, and your personal brand needs to be there to reinforce back into the business brand. You know what I mean? Like it's that easier now with all the rise of social media and the way that we consume content to do it in that way. But like I said, back in the day, it was the fear. It must have been the fear of being judged, being critiqued, being told I was wrong. Like all those things really had a sort of impact in how I wanted to kind of be put forward in terms of those opportunities, right? So that ultimately led to the fall of the blog and the fall of my music sort of career, or my short-lived career in that sense of things. But with that, it really did help me understand the importance of what it means to build that personal brand that can really help showcase who you are. Because had I done that before, I would be in a whole different sort of realm in industry-wise, I suppose, and sort of the work that I'm doing now. Do I regret it? definitely not, because it got me to the stage where we're here now, 1,000 days, I'm locked in. And it really reinforces that. And it's funny because when I say that I'm locked in for 1,000 days, a lot of people are looking at me thinking I'm crazy. But like I said on LinkedIn, they don't understand. I've been doing this content stuff for a long time on the written side. So that same muscle that I have in terms of that consistency, repetition, putting it out, giving it a go, testing different things. If it doesn't work, try this. If it does work, reinforce that with something else, keep going. That sort of element that I've done with the writing, I'm literally translating that into video content, which means I'm able to do it in a way that makes the most sense for me. And I developed a system that makes the most sense. And like I said, if you're interested in that system, then click on the description box below and sign up to the waiting list and you'll get that guide for free, man. I got you. But ultimately, I think that's the main thing I wanted to kind of cover in this video. Please, I know it can be scary. I know it can be daunting, but you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your future self in order to build a personal brand that really reinforces who you are. You're too talented and you're too skilled at what you do to be keeping it a secret. And to think all those years when I was there writing, I had so much more stuff to share, but I just felt too scared and nervous to do it. But now we're in the era of AI. It's a lot more easier to produce and put out content now. So authenticity is literally the currency that we're dealing with now. And the more authentic that you are in the process of doing what you're doing, of following the journey and allowing people to follow the journey with you, is a way that you reinforce the importance of building that personal brand and future-proofing yourself for years to come. So whether you're running a business, no matter what business it is, have your business brand, have your logo, all good, have the branding sorted. That is fantastic. However, you need to also think about your personal brand, and you also need to think about having a separate entity from your business, because your business cannot talk for you. I tried it myself, it didn't work. You need to be able to speak for your business, right? In order to do that, you need to build your personal brand. You need to showcase your expertise. You need to speak about the stuff that you're passionate about. The stuff that you can literally just talk about forever, because it's things that align with you and it's things that you can just talk about. As soon as someone drops something in regards to that topic, you're locked in, because that's your thing, that's your bag. And when you understand that, then you understand how important it is to reinforce that in a way that you can drive interest back into your business to showcase what you can do and not just who you are as well, right? So I hope this video was useful, and please learn from my mistakes. That's the reason why I do this content as well, because as much as I'm telling you guys to focus on your personal brand, to focus on AI development and to future-proof yourself for years to come, it's also an opportunity for me to share my stories with you all, to let you guys into my story and how I got started and why I have the competitive edge of understanding the importance of personal branding, because in hindsight, I was too scared to even focus on my own. But now I'm so locked in, like that is the main thing every single day. That's what I talk about. That's what I enjoy. That's what I love, man. I love this stuff. So that's the passion that you need to show through the work you do. But you cannot show that passion enough through your business alone. Okay? So please like, comment, and subscribe. Bless up, look after yourself, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Look after.